So Tony, what is this extraordinary piece of equipment?
Well, it looks like a huge sandwich box, doesn't it? But actually, it's something really rather extraordinary. This is a portable arc light. These are the little carbon rods for it. This is connecting cables. I mean, I would never, ever use this because it looks so highly dangerous. Transformer. And here's the gadget itself. So what happened was that you connected it up to the transformer, connected it up to the mains, and this little device here, which is directionable, because it's got a little tripod thing on here, and you can tilt it and move it around. And here, what you can see is there's two carbon rods. Now, this device here moves the rods apart or together. And so when the power's on, and you take your life in your hands doing this, you just touch them closely together and then you pull them apart. And then there's an arc in there which generates a massive amount of light. If you've ever watched, or you shouldn't watch, but if you've ever seen arc welding and how it lights up the whole neighborhood in the darkness, that's what's going on in there. It's a spark, electric spark. So then you put that over there, which is your little filter, and you have a kind of a soft filter there in case you don't want that really, really sharp light. And through here there's two little lenses which have filters on them, so you can look in through there and see how your arc is burning. And somebody needs to be more or less sitting on this all the time, just adjusting the arc. It's a bit like the old movie projectors which had arc lamps in them. And so this would be fizzing away, there'd be smoke coming off it, there'd be sparks and so on. It was highly, highly dangerous. You'd get through an awful lot of carbon rods. You can see here, there's quite a bunch of short ones. They may well be ones that have been half used up anyway. And she carried this. And she probably used this, I would have said, in France because of the shape of the plug, because she was shooting in Paris shortly after the liberation. There was no studio, there was no lighting, and stuff like that. So if she could blag electricity, she was on. And goodness knows, I'd love to be able to ask her how often she used it. And I think it travelled with her quite a lot because of its neat little wooden case with her name stenciled on it.
Did she have the case made, do you know, or was it?
I think the case may have been repurposed from something else, but I do know that the stencil of her name, we actually still have that. And so that dates this to that period, because it was an American Army stencil.
And Lee's interest in gadgets was she developed it really with the cooking side, didn't she? With in the kitchen, the number of gadgets she had there. I mean, is that?
Yes, she was always fascinated by gadgets, and this again was a legacy from her dad. The engineer in him was constantly questing, and you know he made lots of little inventions that were never successful, but they were satisfying to him because it was just a better way of doing something. He invented a better type of mapping pen, you know, the old draftsman's pen with the two leaves, and he invented an improvement on that, and then he invented a really neat kind of nutcracker and that sort of thing. So there was always that innovation and love of innovation, and so when Lee saw something that was new, she had to have it to evaluate its possibilities, and for the excitement of having something that was new. So that's why the Polaroid. I mean, this was a massively important thing when it came out because it was the first time ever anybody could see their shots as they took them, and you know, it was a big novelty in that.
So when you were growing up, which camera did she sort of use to record any family events? That would have been the Rolleiflex.
Oh, always the Rolleiflex. That was her go-to. In the latter years of her life, she bought a very lovely Honeywell Pentax, and it was a beautiful camera. It had the most gorgeous lens on it.